7th place team from last year, which is the South Sydney Rabbitohs. And interestingly enough, a team that hasn't been active really at all in the player market for this year, but has had a couple of small losses. They've lost Cody Nicarima for one, and they've also lost Mark Nichols as well. So a couple of little losses for the club there, and also Jackson Paulo's gone to the Roosters. But all in all, a pretty stable roster for mine, especially for a team that did finish down the ladder in terms of 7th. Then they're probably wanting to be more of a top 4 base team at all time. But let's go straight to Luke and see his thoughts on the Rabbits and what he's thinking this year for them.
Yeah, you can kind of rinse and repeat every year for the Rabbitohs, really. Like, you'll see them maybe not finish too highly up the ladder and somewhat have a disappointing season, have stretches of games where they look poor, have stretches of a game where you think, okay, these guys are contenders, and that can be injury, suspension, just all those factors involved. And for me, it's probably a bit like that again. I think people are more optimistic now because it just looks more likely we're going to get that peak Latrell. But then after the weekend, like I told you off the podcast, that I didn't watch any footy over the weekend, just even the All-Star game, and that's unlike me. But I just was busy. But I did hear that Latrell didn't break any tackles for the first time in a long time, and that is a big part of his game. Obviously, he's got the silky hands, but I'm just wondering if there's something going on. Someone did mention it of his shoulder as well. So there's always something there with the Rabbitohs or something there with Latrell. I put Latrell as one of the top 5 players in the game. I put him as one of the top 3 players, though, when he's on form. It's just when everything's peaking. It's just how consistent that is. And I think it might just be one of those years where it's just one of those things that either underperform regular season or they 1 or 2 games away from the final. There's a part of me that wants him to put them as a grand final smoky. I'm just not getting myself around to it. Especially where I don't think Damien Cook is probably the player he was. And also, I'm not sold on Lachlan Ilias. I think he made some good. I think he is going to be something, but it's still going to be only his second full year. So, and like you said, they haven't made too many key movements. So there is a chance if every one of their players gets better. Just don't know if it's going to be enough to kind of break that cycle. How about yourself, Joel?
I'm sort of on the same page as you. I'm just not too sure with the Rabbits this year. Like, I think if Latrell fires, I think he could almost have a Dalian medal winning season, and that could be enough to lead the Rabbits into a top 4 charge. But my also worry is if him or Cody go down, or Cody doesn't fire, which we've seen him do quite, especially last year where the pressure was on him. If he doesn't manage that, then everything goes on to Latrell, because I don't know if Ilias is up to that standard yet to take full control of the game. I think he's still playing probably 4th fiddle when you include Cook in terms of when he gets the ball. So I sort of can see them, and for mine, when I look at their full strength team and their squad, I think they're still quite weak in terms of their backs and depth in the backs. So if they get some outside back injuries, especially early on in their longer ones, I think there's a real concern there for them to stay relevant throughout the whole year. I think they're always going to be a team you don't want to verse, and we've always seen how good especially their edge attack can be and is. But I just feel like they're a team where the fact that they finished 7th, and they wouldn't have been entirely happy with that last year, that they haven't really gone on to sign anything to help improve that moving forward, for mine, is a slight concern. Because I sort of look at last year, I can't really think of any major injuries that happened to their side that was really like big for them or really relevant throughout the whole season, where you could say, okay, that person's coming back this year and that's sort of like a new signing. I feel like everyone was at least there for majority of the season. So I don't know. I feel like I could be missing someone now. I could have egg on my face for it, but I just sort of feel like it's going to be another year where they're around that 7 to, or probably 6 to 8 mark, and I no doubt they're a top 8 team. I just don't think they're going to get to that actual next level where they're probably hoping to get to.
Yeah. Like you said about the injury thing, and obviously Latrell's dealt with stuff, but he was also there though,
Yeah.
especially at the back end of the season. But I do think his health is the big thing. But I would be surprised if he has a fully healthy season. That's not being a Debbie Downer. That's just looking at the history, the facts, and I'll see once I see it, then I think the big plus, the big maybe what might put them in the right direction, just to finish off that thought is Jason Demetrio. I'm not too sure about him as a coach, but what I will say in his defence, he got better as the year got on, and especially that call with Lockie dropping him.
Mm.
I think he was starting to find his feet as the season progressed, and I think it said a lot that we knew who the guy was going to be straight away when Wayne Bennett was departing.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot about him, even though there's a lot of things he does where I think, it looks like he tries to do too much as a rookie coach as such, or just little things. His approach sometimes rubs me the wrong way, but there's still a lot to like about what he's done so far. So if you're giving him the benefit of the doubt, his systems, his style of play, that might be where we see the Rabbitohs break out of that cycle.
Yeah, no, I can see we can. And just on that with Lachlan Ilias, for mine, I think he plays his role quite well, especially since he's dropping. I think it's hard for him to come into this team, especially because he got three big footy personalities in Latrell, Cody, and Damien Cook, where they'll always want the ball. They're very attack dominant players, and I think when the team's on the attack, they're the ones with the ball, and that's when they play their best footy. But so Lachlan has to sort of chime in there and just sort of be the sort of the general in a way and just organise the forwards and things like that. And I think he started towards the back end of last year, he really started to do that role quite well. He doesn't need to be an attacking fullback and have those stats that some of the other top line halfbacks have. He just needs to keep playing this position where he sort of just lets the other three do what they need to do. So